There is an individual in the medical medium community who recently completed 2 years straight of back-to-back advanced 369 cleanses, which is quite a feat, right? That is raw, fat-free, salt-free, very particular foods every single day. So people are asking me, Rachel, do I have to go to those lengths to heal? Do I have to be fat-free for 2 years? Do I have to do dozens upon dozens of cleanses? And the answer is, it depends. So let me tell you how I sort this out with clients. I'm Rachel Pellison. I am a registered dietitian, nutritionist, a somatic practitioner, an herbalist, and an intuitive channel. So, to what lengths and extremes do you have to go to heal? So I always start by looking at the level of toxicity someone is dealing with. So I use a quantitative symptom survey. So I send you the survey, you fill it out, you get a number at the end. Um, and that number will tell you if you are in low, medium, or high toxicity. The higher the toxicity level you're dealing with, the greater the number of symptoms you're dealing with. Typically, the more time it's going to take to heal, the more careful you have to be. Um, and the more specific you have to be with your protocols. Now, that is just a generalization. Some people with less symptoms take more time to heal. Some people with more severe symptoms take a shorter time to heal. So, like every question I'm ever going to answer, it depends. The Advanced 369 is for critical health circumstances. So, when I started using this information and I went through my own healing process, the Advanced 369 did not exist. It was not available. So it's actually something I've never personally tried because my health is in a state right now where I don't feel like I need it. The most important question when it comes to cleansing is what cleanse can you stick to? So it isn't that one cleanse is better than another. It's which one can you get through? Which one can you be consistent with? Which one matches your lifestyle? Which one feels the easiest and most joyful to continue to do? So for me, that's the 28-day cleanse. I love the 28-day cleanse because there's a lot of freedom. I can keep going beyond 28 days if I want to. I can cut it short. I can do 14-day cleanse if I need to. Super healing, really powerful, right? I can also include a little bit of fats. A lot of my personal healing journey, I have been pregnant or breastfeeding. So eating completely overt fat-free was not a good fit for me for a lot of the time. There are points where I have eaten fat-free, and that has felt really supportive. And there are times where I feel like that is not supportive and it feels very stressful. Another thing to consider with what cleanse you're choosing, or how strict you're being is your lifestyle. So, the amount of stress you're under, your lifestyle, and the pace of your life is really going to be a big factor in dictating how strict you can be and what cleanse is going to work for you. So, people who have less symptoms and have very busy lifestyles, if you've got kids, if you've got a job, if you've got multiple jobs, if you're a caretaker for an ailing parent, you're not going to have as much time and energy to devote to cleansing. And you may not need to devote as much time and energy. Your body is going to tell you. If your symptoms are flaring up and getting worse, you got to dedicate some more time and energy. If your symptoms are healing quickly, then the pace you're at is a good match. So we're always, rather than externalizing, I see this other person doing it this way. That means I must have to do it that way. Even if doing it that way feels difficult and exhausting and stressful, and it's creating a lot of strife in my relationships, and I'm it's making me feel mentally unwell, right? But someone else did it that way, so that must be the way I have to do it. That's the kind of thinking we have to get out of. It's less about the logical, what's the best, what's the magic bullet that's going to get me as well as possible, as quickly as possible. And it's more about leaning into the body and going, what cleanse feels right for me? And that might just be the morning cleanse. I love the morning cleanse. I've been living on the morning cleanse for 8 years. Now, there's definitely been some periods where I've taken some time off the morning cleanse because my stress went up, because I was living life at a pace that couldn't even handle the morning cleanse. Okay. I have since remedied that, and I'm back to loving my morning cleanse. But so we have to look at your lifestyle, the pace of your life, and what amount of stress you're under. Another big factor is when you're under higher levels of stress, the stress hormones are up, right? The body has to detoxify those stress hormones. The liver has to detoxify the stress hormones. So if you try to be in a high level cleanse with high level stress, you may be overloading how much the liver can detox. And this is sometimes why people see weight gain while they're cleansing, because we're dumping more toxins into the bloodstream than the liver, the kidneys can filter out and push out of the body. And so the body will not let those um, toxins just float around in the bloodstream and do damage. It's dangerous for that to happen. So the body will create fat stores and suck those toxins up into the fat tissue and hold them there until it is safe to release them. So higher level of cleansing, faster, harder cleansing does not always mean quicker healing if your nervous system, your body, your adrenals, your level of stress cannot handle that level of detox. So it's very much about matching the level of detox that matches your nervous system and your body's capacity for detoxification, right? We don't want to overload the body with more detox on top of detoxing the stress hormones, right? As the stress hormones come down, you can get into higher levels of detox, right? As the stress hormones come up, you might need to slow things down. I think the other thing that is really important is recognizing that healing is not linear. Okay, and I'm going to say this especially for women who do not have a consistent hormonal profile on a day-to-day basis. We are constantly moving through different phases of our reproductive cycle. We are constantly moving through different seasons. I live in New England, so wintertime versus summertime, I'm eating pretty differently. Although sometimes I feel called to do a raw cleanse in the middle of the winter, and I'm like, what? Why? But my body's like, yeah, let's do it. And I feel excited and I feel motivated, and I'm making all these raw recipes, and it feels really nourishing and supportive. And I'm like, smoothies in the winter. Okay, you lead the way, body. Doesn't make sense to me, but it's happening. And other times I think, I'm gonna do a cleanse. It's gonna be summer. It's gonna be hot. There's gonna be all this fruit and melon and watermelon around. My body is like, no, lady, we are not. Mm-mm. So it doesn't always make sense. But again, this is where we have to listen to the body and get out of the mind, out of the head, and out of comparison and start listening to what our body can handle and when. So, very important to factor in your level of stress. Cleansing is oftentimes going to feel uncomfortable because there are detox symptoms. You're going to be peeing more, you're going to be pooping more, you might have some bloating, stomach upset, you might get some headaches, achiness in the shoulders and the neck um, as things are coming out of the body. So cleansing is not always comfortable, but in some weird way, it should feel good because you know the toxins are coming out. Now, if it starts to get to the point where it doesn't feel good, where it is derailing your ability to get through your day to day, that can be an indicator to slow things down. Um, so in order for this person to be able to do 2 years of back-to-back advanced 369s, this is a full on commitment, right? You're probably not traveling. You've got to work your whole day around prepping up to 64 ounces of celery juice a day. You're not eating out at all, ever. I guess unless you ordered um, a raw salad. I don't even know. You're probably not eating out, right? And you have to be in a calm nervous system state for that level of detox, right? So, it's not something to just do willy-nilly or expect that you need to or feel like you have to. Again, just because somebody else did it doesn't mean that that is the way that you are going to heal. Okay? And this is why I always bring other modalities in. I'm a registered dietitian, I'm a nutritionist, I'm a science girl, I am a dedicated medical medium follower. But when you approach an issue from a holistic perspective, you're getting different angles on the issue at hand. So we have the physical, we have the emotional, we have the spiritual, we have the purpose in life, we have connection, we have community. There's a lot of pieces that need to be nurtured in our lives for us to truly be well. Because cleansing out the toxins and pathogens doesn't necessarily make you well, right? It has to be a holistic approach. Now it's going to make you physically well as much as possible. But again, if those stress hormones are high, the cleanses can only do so much because the liver's already maxed out. And you're not going to be absorbing and utilizing the nutrients to the best of your ability. So the things we need to do to be keeping those stress hormones low are things like getting good sleep, doing nervous system work. I do a lot of somatic work where we're tuning into the body and we're clearing out old wounds, old traumas, old unprocessed emotions that are creating chronically elevated levels of stress that have nothing to do with what's happening in your day-to-day life. We need sunshine to increase our immunity and lower our stress hormones. We need gentle, supportive movement. We need to work on our inner voice, right? If we've got a very critical inner voice while we go through a cleanse is not going to work as well, right? If we have a loving, compassionate voice in our head that occasionally says mean things to us, and we go, no, you're not allowed to stay. That one gets to move through, because it's never going to be perfect. The ego is always going to kick in and try to derail you in some way or keep you where you are. Really, the ego is not to derail you. It's meant to keep you where it's familiar. Because to the nervous system, the ego, familiarity equals safety. We've been surviving here for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Let's just stay right here. And as you start to cleanse and your body clears toxins and pathogens and your health starts to improve, your life is going to change. Your mental clarity is going to increase. Your intuition is going to start to kick in. And that's going to start to want to move you into new spaces and places in your life. It's going to want you to set new boundaries. It's going to want you to take new risks, new leaps of faith, right? And so the ego is going to go, no, 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 stay right where you are. Don't change. Don't change. That's dangerous. It's not dangerous. Um, it is how you find joy and fun and play, and it's how you expand in life into spaces and places and experiences that have never been possible for you before. But the ego is going to try to keep you where you are. Okay, so we are focusing on the other aspects of healing, of health that are keeping the stress hormones down and the immune function up. We are matching the level of detox to the level of stress to the pace of our lifestyle. And the cleansing can feel challenging but calm. It can feel like it's a bit of work, but you're happily doing that work. You're welcoming in the shadow work that comes when you strip out caffeine and animal protein and chocolate and all of those things, and your body goes, give me something to numb me out or distract me from this feeling. You're welcoming that, ooh, when I cut those foods out, I have to feel the underlying anxiety, or I have to feel the underlying exhaustion, and I have to do something to honor those feelings and to work through those feelings without using food to do that. Okay. And the other piece we have to look at is, if we're in high levels of stress and we can't get through a cleanse, or we're struggling even to consistently keep the troublemaker foods out, this is where we've got to look at some hard truths in relation to your lifestyle and the choices that you're making. So behind me, you'll see this themes of consciousness poster. And I have lots of videos on this. I'm not going to go to it in detail, but the way we get out of these lowest vibration emotions down here, which are shame, guilt, fear, pride, anger, etc., is through the threshold of accountability. And accountability says, I play a role in every single thing that's happening in my life. And now we can't always control what happens to us, but we can control the way we respond and react to what's happening to us. And so that accountability, that acceptance of your circumstances as that you have control over at the very least your response, your internal response, but many times we have control over the external circumstances. So if you are in a job that you hate, that is sucking the life out of you, and your body is telling you this over and over and over, but you stay because it's safe. You stay because of the retirement plan. You stay because of the seniority. You stay because of the money. You stay because you don't feel like you could get another job. That's going to be a block to your physical healing, right? That's a daily drain, a tax on your nervous system and your energy. If you are feeling anger, judgment, a victimhood, like bad things always happen to me, the government's out to get me, and it probably is, but we don't need to spend a lot of time in that energy, right? That is also going to block your healing. So we do need to look at mindset. Mindset is not going to heal your very difficult health symptoms. It's not, but it is going to change your internal chemistry, which can either enhance your immune function or lower your immune function, right? So pay attention to what is your internal energetic emotional state. What vibration are you at? Are you at a low vibration or are you at a very high vibration? Because the higher we get our vibration, the more we're going to attract synchronicities and miracles. And this is where the immune system is bumping, right? Up here in the energies of unconditional love, joy, and freedom and enlightenment. And it doesn't mean we live in any of these spaces all the time. We're constantly moving up and down this scale, but having an awareness of where you are. And when you find yourself down here going, okay, I'm here. Why am I here? What can I do to start to move myself out of this space? And oftentimes that takes help. That's not always something you can just talk yourself out of, especially if it's long-standing patterns. We need support. We're not meant to do this work alone. Um, if you are coming from a place of force, perfectionism, pressure, lack of time, lack of resources, urgency, right? Those are very low vibration energetic states. So if you're trying to push or force or hustle your way through healing, this is also going to make it very difficult and uncomfortable. And it's elevating stress hormones and lowering your capacity to detox and lowering your immune function. So making sure that we're not getting in this place of force where we're doing more, we're taking more supplements, we're doing more cleanses, but the stress levels are elevated. If you do a little less cleansing, a little less supplements, but you keep it at a level where it feels calm and peaceful and relaxed, you're going to get more from doing less, right? This is the old tortoise and the hare analogy. The tortoise goes slow, the steps are measured. There's times to pause and look at the choices of what path to take, right? And the tortoise always wins. The hare is hurried and rushing and stumbling and running into things and taking the wrong path and looping around backwards, right? Going faster does not equal quicker healing, right? Go slow so you can go faster. Okay. This is super key. So for some people, doing back-to-back 3-6-9s feels slow. It feels steady. It feels grounding. It feels supportive. They feel super energized on it. And for other people, doing back-to-back 3-6-9 cleanses feels exhausting. It feels like another stressor. It feels like it's cutting into your life. It feels like it's too heavy of a detox. So trust that, right? We have to get out of this. Someone else is doing it this way, so that must be the way. We all have our own path. Not a single one of us has gotten to the point where we are in our life by walking the same path. Every single person has a unique, completely unique life path. So at no point are you supposed to veer over and get on someone else's path and do it their way. It's not going, it's not taking you to your destination. Your destination is different, right? So The comparison is a really key thing. So just because someone else is doing it that way doesn't mean you have to do it that way. And just because a practitioner tells you you have to do it that way doesn't mean you have to do it that way, right? Okay. If anyone is asking you to derail your connection to your body, to derail your connection to your intuition, to derail your connection to what feels right for you, if they're asking you to bypass your emotions, to bypass the physical sensations the body's telling you, that saying pump the brakes, this is too much, that's not the right practitioner for you. Okay? Because it's not about forcing, it's not about working harder, it's not about doing more. Okay? I think this person, I don't really know this person. We've exchanged a few messages because I was so curious. I think that this 2 years, and actually it's a total of 3.8 years as of March 20 or February 2026. It's actually 3 point, this person's done like I think over 150 of these cleanses. I think this is an integrity for this person. I think that this is their path because they may be learning lessons about commitment and um, surrender and focus. And that's wonderful. Like I really feel like this person is in authenticity and in integrity. I don't get any red flags from this person at all. I'm totally here for it. However, I do not think that this is the path for everyone. It's not been my path to healing, right? And could it be in the future? Yeah, for sure. I'm open to, I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about what's coming down the pipeline for me. I know where I am right here, right now, today, and I'm not going to get more ahead than like tomorrow or maybe an event I plan in like 6 months. That's as far as I'm going, right? So we don't know when this is going to change. We don't know when a cleanse is going to feel aligned, and but we do know in the moment if it does not feel aligned. And we do know in the moment if it does feel aligned. So um just again, I'm going to say it one more time because it keeps coming through. It's not about comparing yourself to what anyone else is doing or what their healing path is because you have your own healing path. So you're going to do it your way. Okay. And if you don't know what your way is, then work with someone who can help you find your way. A lot of my work is not about telling people what to take or telling them what cleanse to do. It's asking a lot of questions. I ask a lot of questions. How does that feel? Where does that land for you? What's coming up for you? What does your body say to you when you think about doing a 369 cleanse right now? And so if your body feels constricted and tight and anxious, maybe it's not a good time to do that cleanse. If your body feels warm and fuzzy and you feel this pull, then that's probably a great time to do the cleanse. Okay, so we do not want to externalize our authority, right, to someone else, to a practitioner, to what we're seeing someone else do, to a set of rules. We're done with that. That's old school. We've had enough patriarchy and capitalism and blah, blah, blah to satisfy enough generations, right? It's time to come back to your own internal authority, whether that's through how your body feels, whether that's through your intuition, whether that's through a little voice that pops into your head, or just an inner knowing. It's time that this is what I need to do, right? So, and that all comes from within. And that comes from building a relationship with your body and your intuition and learning to trust it. Trust is a muscle. You got to work the muscle of trust in order to gain strength, right? And you have to keep working the muscle of trust. Um, so trusting your body. So looking for big things that are out of alignment. So over cleansing can be out of alignment. A job you hate can be out of alignment. A lot of negative internal talk can be out of alignment. Relationships. Are you in relationships where people are not supporting you, where there's narcissistic abuse or emotional abuse happening, right? Like those things are going to derail your healing, and you cannot cleanse your way out of that stuff. Okay, that's the place where you got to take aligned action steps in your life and set boundaries. And again, oftentimes you need someone to sit down with who can reflect this stuff back to you and help you find your blind spots. We all have blind spots. I have them. I currently have four mentors, coaches, healers, teachers, four right now, which might sound crazy, but they all bring me a different angle and a different kind of support. And every penny that I invest into each one of those people who I deeply trust and love like a sister, um, every penny I invest comes back to me tenfold. So when you find the right people who are guiding you in the right way and who are also walking this path, and it's not a hierarchy, we're all walking hand in hand, side by side. I'm not ahead of you. Nobody's ahead of me. We all have our own unique experiences, and we're doing this work together. I am 1000% in this work myself every single day, hour, minute of the week. And so this internal work, this somatic work of listening to the body is part of the process of healing. And oftentimes if we've had a lot of trauma, especially like physical abuse trauma, emotional trauma, if we've had health trauma or medical trauma, it can be very difficult to tune into the body. What's stuck in the body can feel really scary. And again, that's where you need a safe person to help you safely connect to those things and start to work through them. So I shared on my Instagram recently, I tried to find a therapist because I'm currently going through a divorce, and I was like, I pay all these practitioners out of pocket. Like, let me see if there's someone who will take my insurance who can maybe I can get some more support, another perspective. Well, I went to someone who was highly recommended, had a wait list, been doing it for a long time, blah, blah, blah. And this person did not make me feel safe or supported or heard for a second of this hour-long call. Not for a second. So this is not my person. This person is not helping me tune into my body, find these deep-rooted truths, find the things that the body knows that the mind cannot access. uh it was a flop. So if you've been to practitioners, if you and it has not felt like a connection, if you have not felt totally relaxed and like you can say whatever pops into your mind, if you feel like you're having your own internal dialogue that is separate or different from the person who is the counselor or the coach or mentor or whatever, that's not it. Okay. So if you've had that a bunch of times and it didn't support you or work for you, try again. Look for people who really understand where you are and who are really holding an energy of compassion and who really love themselves, because not through a big ego thing, but who really have compassion for themselves in this journey and who are really honest and open and in integrity about what they're doing and what they're going through. Because those are the people who are going to help you find that energy. And those are the people who are going to help you unlock these little blocks that are hidden all in our energy field and all in our body. And it's to getting to the depth of those blocks that you're going to see one cleanse take you further than 10 cleanses. It's where you're going to see the morning cleanse take you further than a 28-day cleanse, right? Like this is when we combine the food with the energetics. This is why my clients get such powerful results, and they average a 50% reduction in their symptoms after just 6 months of working with me. Okay, average 50%, right? And they're not all doing it perfectly. Let me tell you, I don't do it perfectly. You don't have to do it perfectly. You don't have to do back to back to back to back to back to back to back cleanses. If it feels good, do it. I'm here for it. I'm cheering you on. I'm like, damn, you are amazing. But that doesn't have to be the path, right? So, food and your energy are the primary medicine. Okay. And the support that you get from other people, the nervous system regulation that you can borrow from embodied practitioners is the medicine. The cleanses, the supplements, all that other stuff, that's icing on the cake, right? but we got to start with a cake. You don't want just a pile of frosting because it's going to be it's going to be a big old mess. Sometimes I don't know where these analogies come from, but here we are. Um, so really tune into yourself and feel into if a cleanse feels right for you, and you can always change your mind. You don't have to make a commitment to something and then feel like a failure because you couldn't do it, because your energy changes. The planets change. Your cycle changes. The season changes. Nothing is stagnant and still in this world ever. Every single thing is in constant motion. So you get to change your mind. You get to try one cleanse and it works great, and you get to try it again and it's a disaster. And that's normal. Okay? That is normal. So I'm going to leave you with a couple things. Don't compare your healing journey to anyone else's, and don't feel like you have to do what they are doing or did to heal. Don't work with practitioners who don't make you feel seen and heard and who aren't asking you to tune in and run it through your own inner authority first. Do not externalize your authority to anyone else. It's got to come back inside of you. And if you don't know how to do that, that's okay. I didn't used to know how to do that either. You can learn that. And look at the stress in your life. And sometimes you got to make the hard decisions to walk away from things that are creating a lot of stress, that are hurting your health. Because that move could help you heal more than 1,000 cleanses, right? When you get your energy right. Okay. I love the food. The food is incredible. I eat it all the time. I'm drinking my juice, lemon water, potatoes, greens like crazy. But when you layer these other pieces on top, that is where your healing momentum goes from a ripple to a wave. And when you ride that wave, it takes you to places you've never been before. Brand new places in your life that you never thought you had the capacity for. You didn't have the capacity for. I have a client right now who has lost over 60 pounds and has signed up for a 5K this summer. Something she could not have physically even thought about doing a year ago. I have clients who are playing with their kids more and feeling more calm and grounded around them. I have clients who are starting nonprofits. I have clients who are writing books, writing their memoirs. I have clients who are getting trained in Reiki and starting healing businesses. So you guys, when you get your energy right, when you have a foundation of healing high vibration foods and you get your energy right, the freaking sky is the limit. You can you will be shocked at what the universe has in store for you when you do this work. So I'll leave you with that moment of inspiration. Thank you for listening. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. And if you want to know how you can work with me, there's some information in the comments, or you can go to my website at rachelpellison.com.